Chat, do y'all like fast food? I, in fact, just had McDonald's today. Why fast food is panicking over higher prices now? Let's see why.
There's been a lot of
I don't like chasing my food. Okay, okay, leave.
talk online and in the news about how much fast food prices have gone up.
Bro, I remember the Filet-O-Fish, the fish burger, and McDonald's being like $2. It's $5.95 now. The fish burger is $5.95 now in McDonald's. That's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
Over the recent years.
Once home to the dollar menu, prices at the Golden Arches leaving a bad taste in the mouth of consumers who just want value.
Some restaurants are continuing with price hikes.
Yeah, that's true, man. Like, right away, I also want to say, a lot of times, why do people even want to buy fast food anymore if the fast food at this point is as expensive as just a restaurant meal, right? Ain't nobody got money for that. You'd rather pick a restaurant meal over a fast food meal, right? I just sometimes still go for the McDonald's because I'm a basic white bitch, what can I tell ya?
While others are getting desperate with attempts to offer more deals in hopes of increasing traffic.
Restaurants don't cut prices for fun. Did consumers essentially force your hand by being fed up?
Customers are telling us that they're really stretched.
Now, we all know inflation has been rampant.
Yes, we do know inflation. Also, I do want to bring up the Costco hot dog. Chat, the Americans around here, is the Costco hot dog really that good? I mean, I'm pretty sure they said it's gonna keep staying cheap. And they swapped from Coca-Cola to Pepsi now for some reason. I don't know about that. That hot dog will never change price. How much is it? It's a value snack. How much is it? Like, how much? Is it like $1? $1.50? $1.50? Damn. That's... And a drink! And a drink?! Really? How? Oh my god. Bro, you have to pay like $6 for a hot dog here, at least.
Since the beginning of 2020 when the pandemic happened.
Grocery prices, in some cases, are falling. Yep. Fast food prices are rising, and these CEOs, they know it. They're hearing these complaints.
But what's really going on here? I mean, are fast food companies trying to pull a fast one on us, price gouging under the cover of inflation?
Fast food places in general, y'all better watch your goddamn ass.
Is this just plain old corporate greed like many have claimed?
On one hand, it's corporate greed. On the other hand, it's inflation. It's definitely both. And honestly, I applaud Costco for keeping that Costco hot dog at $1.50. That's insane.
Who told y'all was that good to be charging that much for y'all food?
Or is there more to this story?
Fast food used to mean inexpensive. Going viral, the Big Mac meal priced at $18 at a Connecticut restaurant.
I'm looking up how much a Big Mac menu is here. Give me a moment. What do you mean $18? It's not that much here. I think it's like around 13. Here it's like 10. Does it depend on where exactly it's located too? Big Mac. Big Mac menu. It's $11. It's $11 here. The Big Mac itself is $6.39.
Stop.
Well, in this video, I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. Wikipedia defines price gouging as a pejorative.
Also, sorry for pausing already again, but the Big Mac really isn't that good. Have you tried their new burger? Here it's called Der M. So translated, the M. I don't know if it's like what it's called in like English-speaking countries. No idea. It's great. I do like that one. That one is really nice.
Term used to refer to the practice of increasing the prices of goods, services, or commodities to a level much higher than is considered reasonable or fair by some. This commonly applies to the price increases of basic necessities after natural disasters. Usually this event occurs after a demand or supply shock, like, say, a global pandemic. Harvard Business School says there's no rule for what qualifies as price gouging, but it's not an uncommon occurrence. For example, EpiPen costs and Uber price surges are both examples of price increases that have been considered unfair. But what's the difference between price gouging?
Especially Uber. Uber had made themselves so cheap that they knocked every other competitor out. So they couldn't compete, so they went bankrupt, and then they increased their prices. It's so scummy.
And inflation. While price gouging is often the result of a business decision, inflation is a general increase in the prices of goods and services over time and is directly impacted by the market. And while 40 states across the country have laws in place to ban price gouging, there is currently no federal price gouging prohibition. And this makes it a difficult thing to enforce because so many supply chains are nationwide. And as a result, states face heightened challenges when trying to protect consumers from price gouging. So in my opinion, price gouging is a rather nebulous concept. It often lacks clear-cut depictions, and it's not only a practical question, but also a moral one. However, with this fast food dilemma, it's not just a...
So I'm just looking at this, and I'm just thinking to myself that McDonald's has the best Coca-Cola around because they have the syrup and they make the Coca-Cola at the place. And it's just so... I love McDonald's Coke. Oh, I'm such a fat ass.
About high prices here. It's also about prices that seem disconnected from costs and the actual products themselves. So whether specific fast food companies have engaged in price gouging is up for debate. What certainly isn't is how much prices have increased over the years. And the real question then becomes, is it justified? Finance Buzz released a staggering report on fast food prices.
Fast food price inflation. Bro, McDonald's increased by 100% over 10 years? What? Yeah, that's not just the actual inflation, because if you go down here at the bottom of it, it says actual inflation. Like, this is the inflation of, like, the economy. It's 31%. Definitely, that's just scummy. No, that's them just being literally scummy dumb. Nah, fuck that. Bro, what the hell?
Over the last decade, and it showed some very interesting stats, claiming McDonald's is king when it comes to price hikes over the years, citing a 100% increase to their prices from 2014 to 2024. Now, to understand how we got here, let's just rewind for a second. Fast food in its early days was built on two core promises: speed and affordability. Now, with its initial success, it really started to become a symbol of American culture. What the food may have lacked in quality, it
Bye-bye, Marvin.
ultimately made up with cheaper prices and the convenience of getting it quickly. However, today, the same can't be said. It's not breaking news, but fast food is rarely fast anymore, and it's becoming pretty expensive for...
That's true. Like, over the past years here, when I went to my local McDonald's, there were times where I had to wait, like, literally, like, 20, 25 minutes for my food. I was decently filled, sure, but that's still a lot.
what the quality is. Now, over the last 2 decades, rising costs have hit the industry hard. Real estate prices, minimum wage increases, and supply chain inefficiencies started driving up costs. Add to that the increase in costs of beef, chicken, potatoes, along with paper products, and suddenly the simple cheap burger wasn't so cheap to make anymore. These changes laid the groundwork for the price hikes that we're seeing today, but they only tell part of the story. What's happening now feels different, like something has fundamentally shifted.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you put her on, please?
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Kevin, okay.
Freaking office, man. Often the only times fast food is remotely fast is also the times it's stale. I mean, doner is considered fast food, right? Around here. My local doner store sometimes delivers it within 10 minutes. Sometimes they take 30. But it's still good then, and it's not stale.
But I have to keep it real. It's not just the rise in costs that are part of doing business. It's also factors like increases to advertising spend, ballooning executive compensation packages, along with significant investments into technology, like mobile apps for these companies. Oh, and of course, stock buybacks, returning billions of dollars to shareholders. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at some of the numbers. According to the Federal Reserve's economic data, food away from home, which is the category that includes fast food, this rose roughly 28.5% over the last 5 years. But general overall inflation rose only 24%. Now, at a first glance, these price hikes might seem like a logical reaction to the rising costs of inflation.
And that definitely is part of it. It definitely is. But this extreme increase is just corporate greed then.
But let's dig a bit deeper. While the cost of doing business has increased, profit margins at many major chains have held steady or even grown. Take McDonald's, for instance. Despite facing higher expenses, their operating margins climbed to nearly 46% in 2023, up from around 41%.
Holy shit. Like in 2017, it just like went weep. What the hell happened in 2017, chat? What happened? What happened in 2017? Nintendo releases the Switch. It's the Switch's fault. Trump term 1? Trump's first term was 2016, right? But yeah, it has to be the Switch. I found out I can eat 2 20 packs of nuggies. Holy shit, that's a lot of nuggies. Yeah, Switch was 2017.
In 2019. Now that's not just covering costs, that's thriving. And if you don't think operating margin is the best indicator to decide this, let's look at their net profit margin. It's gone up from 28% right before the pandemic hit, all the way up to over 33%.
Also, something in 2014 seemed to go right, because it went down. We gotta go back to 2014, see what we did right there. It went down, went up, down, up. Oh my.
In 2024. Now this has led McDonald's to begin to take some drastic measures to try to convince customers they not only aren't being greedy, but also that they still can provide value with their menu. But more on that in a moment. This pattern isn't unique to McDonald's though. Chipotle has reported record revenues fueled by menu price increases of nearly 15% over the last 2 years. In fact, during the making of this video, they just announced another 2% price increase to their menu, which brings the total number of price hikes to 7 times since 2021.
Within 4 years? Bruh.
And Chipotle technically isn't fast food and is more in the category of fast casual dining.
I heard Chipotle is so good, man. I wish we had some in Europe. Do we have some in Europe? Chipotle. Restaurant. Chipotle Mexican Grill. Chipotle.de. Wait, do we have some? In Frankfurt? There's 2 Chipotles and they're in Frankfurt. Was soll das? Warum nur in Frankfurt? What the hell?
But they still are a part of that food away from home stat that I provided from the federal.
Which Frankfurt? I don't fucking know. Frankfurt am Main. That one. Frankfurt am Main. Oh, you're back.
But they still are a part of that food away from home stat that I provided from the Federal Reserve. And so we can still learn a lot about their recent financial performance over the years. Chipotle's net margin is higher now than ever before.
It went so down in 2016 here. What the hell?
And has been steadily climbing since the pandemic. However, the margins did tank before the pandemic due to foodborne illness issues the company was facing. But if we also look at their revenue and net income, that has also been rising steadily since the last quarter of 2020. And here's the kicker. Chipotle's former CEO, Brian Niccol, earned over $17 million in 2022 and over $22 million in 2023, including significant bonuses tied to the company's profitability. This is over 1,300 times the median pay of a Chipotle worker. Now, whether you think the CEO is worth 1,300 times the average worker or not, it's clear that they are making more money now than ever before. And Chipotle also just announced in July that they were authorizing a $400 million stock buyback program, essentially funneling excess cash back to shareholders instead of, I don't know, reinvesting it into operations or finding out ways to keep prices.
I don't know much about the stock market. Is that like a good thing to do for companies? Is that like a scummy move? Is that a smart move? I don't know much about it, so if anyone can like quickly explain it, go for it. Trump passed a big tax cut, especially for corpus at the end of 2017. Oh, okay. Like gas prices temporarily fell, right? Before Elections Day, for example. Oh.
Stable. Additionally, Yum Brands, which owns Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut, instituted price hikes in 2023.
They were illegal before? Interesting. So it's like scummy to do then?
And cited that it was a last resort option, while later that year clocking in a 21% increase in total revenue over its pre-pandemic earnings. Now, since then, executives at the company have authorized a $2 billion share repurchase program, returning $678 million to its shareholders. Now, there's no secret here that greater amounts of capital are being redirected to corporate level costs, such as C-level executive compensation. Now, critics argue that inflation has become a convenient excuse for these price hikes. Yes, labor
It definitely
and ingredient
seems like
costs
it.
are up.
Sorry, I spoke over it. I apologize. It definitely does seem like it.
Convenient excuse for these price hikes. Yes, labor and ingredient costs are up. But why are executive salaries soaring at the same time? Why are companies increasing ad budgets and launching multi-million-dollar stock buybacks while citing higher costs as the reason for passing price increases onto consumers?
Because it's a convenient excuse for them. Definitely.
Now, in some cases, the numbers suggest these companies are taking advantage of inflationary pressures to pad their profits. In fact, a recent analysis from the Economic Policy Institute found that corporate profits accounted for over 40% of price increases across several industries during the pandemic recovery period. Now, while fast food isn't singled out in this analysis, it does seem to fit into this broader trend. This narrative has led to a huge disconnect from corporations to their consumers, particularly around their pricing and the value propositions they offer. But the interesting thing here is some of these companies are faring much better than others. Chipotle, for example, is...
Yeah, exactly. As we saw like earlier in the chart, McDonald's had a 100% increase, right? While others had like a 50% increase. So obviously something's going on there. If some of them increase it by 100 and some only by 50. That flame high. If post-elections, it's due to people not realizing that it takes time before power transitions, but they may still have indirect influence. Oh.
Continuing to grow in spite of their price hikes. And they also historically haven't offered any sort of value meal. While restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and others are all trying to entice customers by trying to add more value deals to their menus. But of course, fast food chains have their side of the story too. They argued that these...
Bro, like, when speaking of value deals, I remember when there was like this big advertising McDonald's that like some years back, where it was like €1 for one cheeseburger, €2 for a double cheeseburger, and €3 for a triple cheeseburger. I remember this, like, long gone are those days, man. Feels freaking bad. Can we go back? Can we go back to the $1 cheeseburger, man? Like, what the hell?
These price hikes are a necessity, not some evil choice. And their executives have pointed to some real pressures. Rising wages, volatile supply chains, and of course inflation, as reasons why fast food just isn't as cheap as it used to be. Now, back in May of 2024, social media posts about an $18 Big Mac meal went so viral that McDonald's actually had to begin a campaign trying to debunk some of the myths that were being spread about their prices. Remember this graph from earlier? Yeah, well, McDonald's disagrees with a lot of it.
Really? Do they?
The nuance behind this is that while data on its own is rather objective, the way in which data can be presented often is very subjective, including this video here. However, in their blog post, McDonald's cited bits of information from the article labeling them as myths, like, quote, McDonald's raised...
Bro, the
bits of information from the
McMuffin.
article labeling them as myths.
The Egg McMuffin, my local McDonald's, just, like, most of the local McDonald's here just recently started doing breakfast again. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Like, quote, McDonald's raised prices at a rate nearly double the national rate of inflation. And over in their facts section, trying to combat this, they mentioned that over the last 5 years, prices have increased around 40% due to higher input costs such as salaries, food, and paper products.
Yeah,
and
that's
while that may be
inflation.
very well true, the article cites McDonald's menu prices have doubled 100%
100%.
since 2014 across popular items, the highest of any chain we analyzed. But okay, let's just assume McDonald's was confused on this, and they cited from 2019 on as opposed to what the article says, which is 2014. So what about another myth? Well, once again, McDonald's cites the article quoting, McDonald's medium fries have increased by 138% since 2019.
Okay, that's the myth.
But McDonald's claims the truth is the average price of a medium fry in 2019 was $2.29.
I don't know. I can't confirm. I don't know. And even if it's just the fries, the overall price by everything, right?
And now in 2024, the average price is $3.29. Okay, well, the article actually says that the 138% increase is from 2014 to 2024, not 2019. Now, I could go on, but I think you're starting to get the point. Okay, but there are...
Okay, so McDonald's just went like, oh, okay, but if we look at this instead... Alright, so they're just deviating away from the actual thing.
There are some who argue that rising wages are really the one to blame for high menu prices, claiming this trend of increased minimum wage could lead to job losses and widespread...
Come again.
19. Now, I could go on, but I think you're starting to get the point. Okay, but there are some who argue that rising wage...
The CEO is saying because the minimum wage is risen, they had to increase their prices? Is he saying because he had to pay their employees better minimum wage, they had to increase all the fries?
Wages are really the one to blame for high menu prices, claiming that...
He's blaming the ones that earn the least? Ain't no way.
This trend of increased minimum wage could lead to job losses and widespread restaurant closures. However, the evidence suggests otherwise. Economists at the Economic Policy Institute have extensively researched this issue and found that higher wages would likely have the opposite effect.
Yeah, because if they have higher wages, they can afford the food again! Wow! What a shitty excuse, man. What a shitty excuse. Oh my god.
Modestly stimulating consumer demand, boosting business activity, and creating job growth. Okay, but what about fast food prices? Are they rising because of higher wages? Well, yes, but not entirely for the reasons you might think. Price increases in the fast food industry are part of a long-standing trend, not a sudden phenomenon caused by wage hikes. Because while the consumer price index for all items rose by 3.2% between April 2022 and April 2023, fast food prices surged 5.2%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Meanwhile, the cost of groceries increased by only 1% during that time.
Damn.
But that was then, and this is now, and fast food has been getting desperate over the last year. McDonald's has had to really try to entice customers with their nationwide $5 value meal. And many
$5? Well, this actually seems good.
has had to really try to entice customers with their nationwide...
This seems good for a $5 meal. Drink, fries, burger, fun chicken nuggets. That's actually good. That is a value meal.
$5 value meal. And many competitors have followed suit. Burger King offered their $5 meal. Wendy's did a $4 meal deal.
Like, that's what they don't understand. If they would keep offering, like, cheaper things, more people would buy it. More people would start buying again. How is that so hard to understand?
And Taco Bell launched a $3 value deal, all in an attempt to increase traffic to their stores. Now, it's clear they have a real problem on their hands, not only in terms of general sentiment around their value propositions, but also in regards to pricing. But fast food companies also have to reckon with fast casual offerings eating away at their market share. Chipotle, Kava, and Sweetgreen have all reported a much different.
Doesn't McDonald's own Chipotle? I might be wrong. I'm not entirely sure.
Different outlook on this matter. And while yes, they typically attract a higher income cohort, it's not only them that are buying these products. Kava,
90% of it?
the
Okay.
Mediterranean chain, only raised prices 12% from 2019 to 2023.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, they reported increases to their top and bottom lines.
Would you look at that? Damn! Wow, what? No way! People could still afford it, so people still bought it? Whoa! Mind-blowing!
Now, of course, they have a much smaller footprint than McDonald's, but when that Big Mac is contesting the prices of some of these fast casual offerings, it seems like an inevitable shift is bound to occur here. And even casual sit-down restaurants like Applebee's and Chili's are getting involved into this value war. Chili's 3 for Me meal deal for $10.99 has created a resurgence in traffic to their restaurants, resulting in their foot traffic soaring 33%, which capped off 6 straight months of increases.
My state doesn't even have the minimum set of $15 an hour yet. Almost every fast food is already there. I have people working in hospitals have left due to stress for the $3 an hour pay cut. They had a cut of that? In hospitals? The economy is so fricked.
So are the higher prices just the costs of doing business? I don't see how one could come to that conclusion with how much profits have increased over the last 5 years for most of these chains. To me, this does seem like some good old-fashioned corporate greed, masked in layers of manipulation and excuses.
Yep, 100%, especially the McDonald's one. Holy shit.
And now for fast food places like McDonald's, Burger King, and others, customers not only have to battle with higher prices, but also with the lack of convenience and quality of the food itself.
The reality is almost no fast food place actually pays minimum wage. They already pay over it. I wouldn't know, never worked for one. But if they already work over it, then that excuse from the CEO is even worse. No, that's even worse.
Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, infinite growth is the goal. And the fiduciary duty to shareholders comes before customers, employees, suppliers, or vendors. But it is really interesting to see how some companies simply choose to operate differently while still achieving success. If you want to learn about a prime example, I covered the story of Costco and the interesting approach they've taken to capitalism. You can learn about it here. Thanks so much for watching.
I will watch it at one point. Because the Costco thing seems really interesting. Yeah, here's the video, chat. Here's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you for watching. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, definitely corporate greed. Like the McDonald's 100% increase within the last 10 years. That's insane. That's actually just insane, man. I'm a bit flabbergasted that the increase was that big. I didn't expect that big. Like, I was expecting 50, 60% maybe, right? But if the general inflation increased by 31% and they increased it by 100%, there's absolutely no way in hell to excuse that, apart from it being corporate greed. Inflation combined with less and less people being able to get or keep working. I have disposable income. I missed a burger plus fries for $1.50, bro. I remember growing up, donuts used to be, like, for anyone who doesn't know, a donut is basically like a kebab bread and like a Turkish pizza bread. Used to be €2. Then went to 2.50 to 3.50. And now we're at like 7.50 to €9 at some places even, man. It's like, you can't even consider it fast food anymore. That's insane. Food is getting expensive, yeah. Either way, man, thanks for watching, YouTube. See ya. Come watch me live. Say hi.